It's part of my odor. That sounds bad, but it's a good odor. If you like sweet perfumes, you will probably like this entire line. If you don't like sweet perfumes, you will probably hate this entire line. I'm gonna have to buy a full bottle of this one day. The only reason to me that you might like one of the other ones more than this one. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Charlotte. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you're new here, and I do videos on beauty and fragrance every week here on YouTube. I try to keep them fun and informative at the same time. If that sounds like your thing, go ahead and subscribe. I upload 3 times a week. And yeah, we have a lot of fun here. I have a really fun video for you today. So today I want to share with you something that has been requested already, and it is a comparison review of Jean-Paul Gaultier fragrances, specifically from the Scandale line. So Jean-Paul Gaultier has the original, so we have Scandale here, Scandale by Night, and I also have a sample decant of So Scandale. These are really over-the-top, sweet, sexy, potent, loud, not shy perfumes, and all 3 of them are really good. And all 3 of them are quite similar in a lot of ways, but they do have some important differences, and I'm gonna go through those differences with you so that you can figure out which one is the right one for you or for whoever you're choosing a fragrance for. So if that sounds good to you, let's get into it. So here you have Scandale, and these are known for having these really all of Jean-Paul Gaultier's bottles tend to be very decorative, beautiful, you know, unique bottles. So this is no exception. This whole line, it's all these like dangling legs. So here you have the Scandale regular, here the original, the OG. Here you have Scandale by Night, and I also, spoiler alert, I think this one's my favorite one, but I only have a 10 milliliter decant, and this is So Scandale. So Scandale. I love it, and yeah, I love all of these. I'm going to just preface this by saying I love all of these fragrances a lot. I have even a hard time determining which one is my favorite because I like them all so much. But I do think that most people will have a preference. I do think that you don't need all 3, that most people don't need all 3 unless, again, you're fragrance weirdo, and I say that with the most love and respect in my heart. If you're not a fragrance weirdo, you do not need all 3. And actually I would say for like most people walking around, they would find them quite similar, you know, like gasp, no, they're not at all similar. But like if well no, it's not true. I was gonna say if I had my boyfriend smell these, he'd be like, they smell the same, but no, he's starting to get a nose, you guys. He's starting to get a nose. I mean, like, me looking at all my perfumes here, like, I would hope so, but he's starting to get a nose. I put off doing this video for a little while because I wasn't sure if I was gonna add any more to my collection, and I've just decided that right now it's just not the time to do that. I've overextended myself in other fragrance houses. So, you know, and I have this beautiful lineup here that I know I love. For now, this is what I'm going to stick with. But there is, of course, Scandale à Paris, which is, I think, pear, vanilla, and patchouli, and it doesn't have honey. Quite different. Let me see. Oh. Okay, so Scandale à Paris looks actually really interesting because it says in the chorus that it's fresh and aquatic, which I think might be really interesting with this fragrance line, okay? Because let's just get down to it. The original Scandale, that's my freaking stove beeping, you guys. I'm trying to multitask. I'm trying to cook at the same time. Okay, so let's start with the original. As I was saying, here as you can see, I just want to show you quickly off the bat. This is very telling and actually is foreshadowing of the fragrance. The Scandale regular one is a clear pink liquid, and the Scandale by Night is a dark, rich cherry kind of color. So Scandale, and oh god, do I have to spray? Fine. I want to be able to have enough spray spots, you know, so maybe I'll put one here. You know, like, I don't want to overdose my nose. Let's get some coffee. I drank so much coffee, you guys, today. I drank way too much coffee, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Oh, I'm gonna do these one by one because I just need to really immerse myself. Okay. This is intoxicatingly sweet. It's very sweet. If you like sweet perfumes, you will probably like this entire line. If you don't like sweet perfumes, you will probably hate this entire line. Okay, this is sweet. But I love it when there's that sweetness that's kind of like sandwiched between the rich grounding accords and, which like is the patchouli in here. There's definitely patchouli in here. I think this one has licorice in it too, yeah. And at the top with those citruses, but like not just a little bit of citrus, like juicy citrus. I think this one is, yeah, this one is blood orange. Blood orange, like, oh man, that is so good. Sometimes I forget how good the OG is just because the flankers are so good too, you know? And this is one of those fragrances too that's like, you don't need to get the intense version. So the intense version here would usually be like the by night one. You don't need to get the intense version to get the maximum potency version. You know what I mean? Like the other ones just kind of go a different direction a little bit, but they're all just as potent. This is really beautiful. It does say it's animalic, and to be honest, the only animalic notes I get are like the beeswax and the honey, which to me is kind of always a little bit animalic, and ironically, I find it to be a lot more animalic in other perfumes I've smelt. Well, other honey perfumes I've smelt that don't necessarily list animalic. So like to me it's not particularly animalic, you know what I mean? So that's why I find it kind of interesting that it's listed as being animalic. It does have, there is a sort of muskiness to it. But yeah, that honey accord, like if, to me that does smell, or it does pull a little bit animalic on my skin. But it always kind of does to me, so it's not particularly animalic to me. To me, it's just like as animalic as honey is, basically. And yeah, you got the white florals. It is a little bit sharp with the white florals, but I don't know. I feel like those kinds of white florals that are a little bit sharp at the beginning are also the same white florals that last the whole day. So if you're willing to, if you're willing to kind of be okay with those really strong in your face sweet scents for a little bit. So like if you like things like La Vie est Belle, this is like Scandale, La Vie est Belle, what else? You know, like those kinds of scents. Like they're really in your face sweet, syrupy sweet, and this is no exception. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so well done, so well rounded, like I said, with the citrus and the just really, it's a complete fragrance to me. Okay, and then Scandale by Night, right over here in this gorgeous red liquid. See, like to me right away, Scandale is more animalic to me than Scandale by Night. Let's see if other people think it's animalic. Yeah, there's no animalic accord for Scandale by Night. I wonder why. I think it's the beeswax that makes Scandale the original animalic. Maybe it's, or like a combination of the patchouli and the beeswax. The patchouli, beeswax, and licorice combo. The Scandale by Night has cherry and tuberose, and both of those are very intoxicating. So for me, oh man, you guys, these are so beautiful, both of them, and like to me they're both beautiful, but they're both different. They're both distinct. So at first with the Scandale by Night, I get an almost cough syrup cherry, like, but that's really only because it's the very first initial spray and it's still wet. Oh man, it's so good though. It's just really sweet. Definitely not animalic like Scandale OG. It's interesting because I find that the original Scandale is a little bit more sensual in a slightly more like overtly sexual way, I find. And it's definitely, it's a wonderful like original. Like I'm glad that the flankers are just slight, like they add on or they're slight variations. Wow, okay. I'm smelling something very similar to, and I was not expecting this, I'm smelling something very similar in the Scandale by Night to what I smelled in Bond No. 9's New York Nights. I just want to see if there's something that's in common between those two. I'm getting wafts of the cherry now, like with my arm down, and it's so delicious. It's so well done. Like if you want to treat yourself to a really nice designer fragrance, this line is, it's so nice. Like, it's such a nice gift to give to and to receive. Scandale is changing a little bit now. Yeah, it's definitely animalic. You can only meet the florals if they're the same. Sandalwood, patchouli. It's like the cherry tonka bean. It's like the cherry vanilla tonka bean mixture. Very intoxicating. This one's a little bit more young. It's just, there's something, just that over the top sweetness that's just a lot less nuanced and doesn't have that. I need to wait a little bit, but Scandale by Night is definitely sweeter. So if you think Scandale is sweet, well, Scandale by Night is even sweeter, if you can imagine. Let's move on to, okay, so as I was saying, the Scandale by Night also has the citruses in there, although this one is supposed to be citruses and bitter orange. The other one was blood orange. I don't really know what the difference would be there, right? But I imagine that there's more like, I mean, like lemon, you know, like lemon cherry. It's like that tart cherry sort of, that's constantly sort of not competing, sorry, because that would not be a good thing. It's like this lemony and cherry combo, lemony cherry combo that's just kind of like bursting together with flavor. So yummy, so sweet candy-like. It's definitely candy-like, but it still has that musk in the base, a little bit of sandalwood, white florals. Really nice. Honestly, the more it dries down, the more they resemble each other, but the cherry does stick around, on me at least. And I really, really like how Scandale, the original, the way it sort of dries down, it sort of radiates a little bit of warmth, and that's also the animalic quality, I guess. It's interesting because this one also doesn't say it has any musk in it, but I still get a musky feeling from it, if you know what I mean. I hope I'm not like, anyway. And then finally we have So Scandale right here, and I was so happy to get this sample because this is something that was like in an order I got a few months ago, and I was not really expecting it, I don't think. And it's a really nice generous sample. It's 10 ml, and this, when I first smelled it, I was like, okay, because it just smelled sweet, but it didn't have all the like woody patchouli base of the other two. So, but it's not just any kind of sweetness, you guys. It smells exactly like a bazooka, like bazooka gum, like, you know, like the ones with the powdered sugar around it, with the little, and like the gum is too hard, but that smell is just joy, little piece of joy in a little paper wrapper with the little cartoon. That's what it smells like literally like the little paper and the little wrapper, because it's not because when you smell it like this, it literally smells like the wrapper, so you know, like it's like not the concentrated aroma, it's just like the lingering leftover aroma. That's what I get. So I am gonna spray it on my hand, but I want to make sure I don't want to, you know, have other parts affect. That was such a big spray. Remember, I'm like keeping this, I'm like savoring it. I'm using a spray for you guys. It's worth it. Okay. Oh my god, I like it so much. This is the first time that I spray them all at the same time, so it's really interesting to get my initial reaction. Oh man, I love it so much. Interesting. Okay, so Scandale right now still smells the same. Really lovely, velvety, and like there's nothing sharp about it anymore now. It's just, it really feels like it's part of my skin. It's part of my odor. That sounds bad, but it's a good odor. Like it smells like, if I smelled this on someone, I'd be like, wow, they smell so good. I wouldn't think, wow, their perfume smells good. You know what I mean? Which that's that's a good sign to me. You don't want to have, you want to be wearing your perfume. You don't want your perfume to be wearing you. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, usually. It depends on my mood though, you know? But yeah, and then the cherry. Yeah, the cherry one is so good. So good. I want to say one thing, and that is that I'm surprised by, like, even though there's so much white floral in this, and like it's shiny. I don't even know if you can see. There, you can see it, right? It's like shiny. So it's still wet, hasn't dried down. Like it should be burning my nostrils. And it's still beautiful and velvety and silky, and that's not always the case with white florals. Oh man, I really like this. And you guys, this is also what made me start realizing that I think I really like raspberry, like particularly a lot. This has raspberry at the top, tuberose, and milk. You guys know by now that I love milk, or I like milk in my fragrances. I love a lactonic scent. Oh, yeah, man. I don't know. I love them all three, okay? But you know, great. The one that I don't have a full bottle of is probably the one that is my favorite one. And not everyone likes this one. I think Gabby Loves Perfume has said that she didn't really like it, or she didn't like the opening, or yeah, she just doesn't really like it that much. But she really likes Scandale à Paris, which I've heard good things about too, but I don't know that one. But I think it looks really interesting, and it looks different, and it looks good. And what I like about it too, about what it looks like, is that it's fresh and aquatic, which I think would be really interesting to smell in this line, because there's nothing fresh or aquatic about these. So yeah, so the So Scandale is just that raspberry, that tuberose, and that milk. Is that all there is? No, I think there's something else too, but yeah, it's so amazing. It's just raspberry, tuberose, milk, jasmine, and orange blossom. Yeah, milky, lactonic, fruity, super sweet. And like I said, from the nozzle, from the atomizer, and I think that that's just a sign that like you might get whiffs of it like this. It has the bubblegum note, so that tuberose. But I don't know, man, I've never smelled it like this. It's spot on to the bazooka, and I think, I don't know, maybe it's because of the combination of the raspberry and the tuberose, and the way that Jean-Paul Gaultier does fragrances. Jean-Paul Gaultier's solid designer fragrances. So yeah, so which one is my favorite? You know, like before the video, it's so hard to choose a favorite though. Oh, that's what I want to say too. What's kind of interesting is I get a little bit of a doll's head scent in the dry down of the Scandale by Night. And you know what? I guess that's the cherry, right? You know how like a doll's head you can get from like strawberry. So for example, yeah, this is Burberry Her. This to me is like, in the best way, this is the doll's head smell, which is like a strawberry, fake plastic strawberry sort of scent. Can be very nostalgic for some. And yeah, right now I get a little bit of that, but it's not that. No, it's not the same. Oh my god, you guys, you know what it is? By the way, this might sound really weird. The way that I like to experience fragrances, if I want to see like different ways, like I like feeling different wafts of the fragrance. Like yes, you can do this, but also breathing out onto the fragrance. Make sure your nose is clean and it's your nose and all that, and you're at home. But just the warmth and seeing how it, and also sometimes just breathing out and then breathing in right away, it almost kind of like cleanses your nose palette. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you have these little tricks or quirks or about when you're smelling fragrances. But I also sometimes have my mouth open. It's almost like you're tasting them a little bit sometimes. So yeah, I would say that the Scandale OG is the most well-rounded fragrance and the most solid in terms of if you were to like buy something for someone as a gift, for example, you know, and you didn't know what their tastes were and all you knew was that they maybe liked something sweet or whatever was popular or mainstream for the day. Because I mean, let's be honest, like this is one of the most popular scents right now, so it is very popular as a gift or something like that. So if you were going to choose like which one to get for that, like I would say go for the OG. It's like you can't go wrong with it really, especially if it's for someone who is And that's the thing, okay, I have lots of scents that are mature and younger, and like I don't think you should ever wear a scent according to your actual age, but I do think that scents give off a different feeling. This is like the most appropriate for everyone kind of thing. And then the Scandale by Night to me is like right away I'm like, I think of like a mid-20s woman who's going out. Yeah, not because you have to be that, do you know what I mean? Like, but that's what I picture with Scandale by Night. And So Scandale, I don't know, but it's definitely very girly. This one is more girly to me. Yeah. But then again, but not girly, not actually girly. All of these are grown-ass women perfumes. But this one's just a little bit more, how would I say? Scandale, the OG, is just a little bit more, it's hard. You guys, these words are going to be used in the context of the Scandale line. They're all scandalous, okay? None of them are work perfumes or anything like that. But out of the three, the Scandale OG is the most like professional one. I don't even know what I mean by that. But no, what I really mean is, yeah, it's just the most well-rounded, solid perfume of the bunch. And I think that you should start with this one, or at least smell this one. And the only reason to me that you might like one of the other ones more than this one is if, two things, is if for you sweeter is always better. So if sweeter is always better, then yeah, go for one of the two other ones. And also if you are afraid of any kind of animalic note at all, even though I don't want to scare you away by saying that there's a little bit of an animalic tone to this, because this is not actually animalic to me, or not in the way that things can be animalic. Anyway, the point is that, like, to me, compared to most animalics, this is not animalic, but it's definitely more, it definitely can be called animalic, whereas the two other ones, I would never ever think of them being called animalic. And if you like that milk note, if you like a milky lactonic scent, and if you like a bubblegum scent, and you like fruity sweet, I think So Scandale is so fun, so good, and so unique in my collection. It's just because it's so loud and just that. It's just sweet, bubblegummy, milky tuberose with raspberry, and it's just, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to buy a full bottle of this one day. Yeah, there you go. And by night, beautiful. Again, like, it's hard to pick a favorite. They're all beautiful. Yeah, I definitely get that the So Scandale doesn't have that patchouli, that woody and patchouli base that the other two have. It's definitely lighter, not in scent, but lighter in terms of, I don't know about you, but it's like I can see the scent is like floating up here more rather than down here. I don't know. So lovely. Really, really lovely. So I really want to know, I want you guys to tell me which one you think sounds the most interesting. If you haven't smelled these, let me know which one you think sounds like the one that you would like. And I also want to know which one you think, I want to know. Tell me which one you would rate first, second, third. I want to know according to how I described it to you. If you haven't already smelled it, I want you to do it according to what I just told you, like how they smell, what you think would be your favorite, middle one, and last. I want to know which one. So my favorite, my first, and again, like I said, all three of them are my favorites, okay? But just for the sake of this whole thing, I'm gonna say that before I did this experiment, okay, I thought that my first was gonna be So Scandale by Night, and then So Scandale, and then Scandale. But, and again, you guys, it's minor differences, and it's really just like out of a respect for the line. I think, oh man, it's so hard to choose, you guys. Oh, see, now they smell, Scandale by Night and Scandale, the dry down, smell very similar at this point. Now, it's been a long time. I've been sitting here in front of the camera, at least 40 minutes maybe. I definitely think that Scandale and Scandale by Night are going to be more long lasting. They have that woody patchouli base that's just sticking onto the skin. But not to say that the other one's not long lasting. And like I said, very high concentration of fragrance oils in these beautiful, Please let me know in the comments down below which one sounds like the one that you would really like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any more videos, because I do upload at least a couple times a week. As always, please let me know down in the comments down below any of your suggestions. If there's any kind of perfume that you want to see a detailed review on, if there's any kind of comparison that you want to see. I am going to compare the Elie Saab line that has been asked by a couple of you and a couple others too. If there's any other comparisons you would like for me to do, please let me know down in the comments down below.